Satnam, I'm Nirvair, and this month we're celebrating women, and we're going to have a wonderful meditation from the I Am a Woman manual to develop your radiant body. Now, I was thinking the other day, I heard something on NPR, and it was this person was talking about how things are transformed in people, in individuals, in organizations. And how things are transformed is by changing a predominant habit pattern. This was always super interesting to me because I'm listening to it with my yogi's ears. Because Yogi Bhajan talked a lot about habits. You know, one of his favorite expressions was, first of all, you create the habit, then the habit creates you. And so habits are super important. And what this author was talking about was a keystone habit. You know, in architecture, a keystone is something that really holds everything together. And so if you change a keystone habit, it changes literally everything about the environment. And so I was thinking, well, what is a keystone habit that we have, you know, and that Yogi Bhajan has talked about that could really, truly, entirely change the whole way of being that you would have and how you would operate in the world? Well, I went back to Patanjali and the 8 limbs of yoga, and one of the 8 limbs is pratyahar. Now, Yogi Bhajan interpreted it a certain way. Pratyahar, as you know, the literal translation is a contract. Yogi Bhajan talked about it more as a synchronization with your infinite self. He also talked about it as dedicated devotion, which is interesting. You actually dedicate your devotion. You're not just devoted, you dedicate your devotion. And that allows you to synchronize your finite self with your infinite self so that you can act from your infinite self in all situations and circumstances. And so this is not something you just do when you meditate. This is something that you practice all day long. This becomes part of your life. This is a keystone habit to live in this state of pratyahar, in this idea of synchronization. Now, I thought of a couple things that he's taught that can help you do that you can develop as a habit. And if you get into the habit of doing these things a couple of times a day, then watch just how your attitude changes. The first thing is, right when you wake up in the morning, even before you do your yogic routine to get out of bed, you know, stretch like you do after a yoga class and do all those things to set your navel point and things like that. Yogi Bhajan recommended a phrase, which I do every morning. And the phrase is, good morning, this is God speaking. Today I'll handle all your problems. You have to do nothing, so have a nice day. All right? So, good morning, this is God speaking. Today I will handle all your problems. You have to do nothing, so have a nice day. So repeat that to yourself a couple of times. And so, you know, essentially, you're speaking, but you're saying, this is God speaking. So it's the God within you that's speaking. And so you're basically start your whole day in synchronization of your infinite self. The other habit I thought which would be really good is, you know how before you eat you always say some kind of blessing? All spiritual people, doesn't matter what discipline in the world, say something before they eat to be grateful and to thank people for the food that they've been given. And so, one interesting concept, and Yogi Bhajan always liked to turn these things on its ear a little bit, was that what you do is that not only do you thank God or the infinite or the universe or the planet for your food, but what you do is you thank God for being able to thank God, right? That's what he's talking about, dedicated devotion. But because just the fact that you can remember to do that puts you in a synchronization with your infinite self. It creates a whole nother level of consciousness. So try those two things before you eat in the morning and when you first wake up in the morning, and just see how it changes your attitude of life and puts you in that state, constant state of Pratyahar. KRI has a new book, and this new book that we've just produced this year is called Heroes, Saints, and Yogis, Tales of Self-Discovery in the Path of Sikh Dharma. Now, this is a book by Shakti Parwakar and Garuka Singh. Shakti Parwakar, as you might remember, wrote Kundalini Yoga, The Path of Eternal Power. She's the mother of 3HO, and it's one of the basic primers on Kundalini Yoga. Garuka Singh, of course, is from SikhNet, and so they've cooperated here together to kind of create a basic book about what it means to be a Sikh. And it's not like one of her premises, Shakti's premises, is that being a Sikh is not a religion, it's a dharmic practice. And so it's a very simple way of looking at Sikh Dharma from kind of that point of view from someone that's like a beginning student. It's really a good book. And it's interesting since we're talking about women this month, and we're celebrating women this month, there's a small chapter here on exactly the position from what Sikhs think about women. And here I want to read you from the book a quotation from Guru Nanak. We are born of a woman, we are conceived in the womb of a woman, we are engaged and married to a woman, we make friends with women, and the generations continue because of women. When one woman dies, we take another. We are bound through the world through women. Why should we talk ill of she who gives birth to kings? Everyone is born from a woman, no one exists without her, only the eternal formless one is beyond gender. And there's a great quotation from Yogi Bhajan about this. The highest incarnation of God is the female, through which God can take birth. All the avatars, all the sages, all messengers of God, all messiahs never drop directly from the sky. It is the one womb of one woman which can give you the Godhead. There's a very popular saying in the scriptures, the strength of God is unlimited and is that of a woman. He said that in 1983. So I highly recommend this book. And I really highly recommend this meditation we're going to do for the radiant body. Practice it with me this month. So, thanks, and Sat Nam.